Good afternoon to everybody, or this is kind to say good morning still. Anyway, I'm appreciated by your support, Ukraine, and thank you for supporting me and my channel. You know that these days are really very difficult for Ukraine, because many people are stuck in different hot, terrible places. The most terrible places, dangerous place in Ukraine is Mariupol. Inside of Mariupol there are Ukrainian militarists which are called Azov. And there were many women and many children and also many injured people. 2 days ago, we heard news that Russia threw 7 bombs in one place, and in this place was military hospital, and the roof of this hospital fell down, and it fell to the military hospital. You can imagine the situation. That's people who were injured, who had not right treatment, who have sometimes not food and water. They were injured in the second time. And we were praying for all these people. And yesterday we heard news that Ukrainian government organized rescue of civilians people, women and children from this place. There were more than 100 people evacuated. Unfortunately, Russia did not allow injured people go away from this place. So people who need treatment, who have terrible disease, they need to stay there in underground. But at least for me it's nice news that some people, especially children, can go away from there. So today we talk about the man that was arrested 2 weeks ago. He told that I can offer to you to exchange me to the people who are in Mariupol. But Russia didn't want to exchange him to people who are in Mariupol. So this man is Viktor Medvedchuk. He is very well known here in Ukraine. I don't know if you know him, but probably in news 2 weeks ago you have seen this person, because he was arrested here in Ukraine. He was arrested when he wanted to escape from Ukraine, when he wanted to go away to Russia. So he was scared by Ukrainian SBU. Ukrainian secret police. This person looked miserable here on the photo, and you see he had a very strange head dress, and I think many people in Ukraine were happy to see him like this. He looked actually not very good, but for many years he looked really different. Here he is together with his wife, Oksana Marchenko. He was oligarch. Actually, he is oligarch. He is one of the richest men in Ukraine. He have more than $600 million on his bank account. He is the owner of different industrial, in different fields like energy, metal industry, real estate, media. Actually, his wife is a TV presenter. Years ago, he was named by Forbes as one of the richest Ukrainian oligarch. But you see how life can change, because he became like this, actually. Why he was so important? Because he is the godfather of Putin. This is like a Ukrainian film about Godfather. Yes, He was in some relation with Putin, and during the many years, during these 8 years, he was a negotiator between the Ukrainian side and Russian side. Like he helped Ukrainian Russian prisoners come back to Ukraine. But actually, he worked for Russia. He worked for Russia all the time. And although he is the godfather of Putin, Putin told that they don't want to exchange him, that he is Ukrainian, that probably he wants to stay in Ukraine, not in Russia. So this is his luxury place. This is gold train. Yeah, he had gold train. It was presented to Viktor Medvedchuk by his wife. He liked luxury life. He wanted to be between the most famous people over the world. So here he met with Nicole Kidman and he presented to her the big flowers, bouquets and so on. So, yeah. Probably in such way he wanted to show that he is a really important person. But what we know about Viktor Medvedchuk? Actually, his psychology, everything that he do against Ukraine, it showed that he is like Malorussia. Malorussia means little Ukraine. In the old time, in 19th century, we had no Ukraine, but Ukraine was part of the Russian Empire, and Russia called us Little Russia. Yeah, and now people who don't support Ukrainians, who don't support Ukraine, who feel indifferently about Ukraine or negative about Ukraine, we call the Little Russian, Malorossi. Yeah. Medvedchuk is one of the best presenters of such story, such person, Malorossia. What we know about his family, about Medvedchuk? Let's come back to the Second World War. In the time of Second World War, his father was one of the simple men who lived in the, I think, Western Ukraine. And when war started with Nazi, he was not accepted to the army because he had some injury in his leg or some disease. So he stayed under occupation, and actually he collaborated with Nazi. He worked for Nazi. What he did? Vladimir Medvedchuk, he gathered young Ukrainian people and sent them to Germany as Ostarbeiter, as slave workers, what he did. And after the retreat of German force, Soviet army came to Western Ukraine, and they arrested him, and they sentenced him to 8 years in prison. They sent him to Siberia, but his sentence was like Ukrainian nationalist, but he wasn't Ukrainian nationalist. He just cooperated with Nazi. Probably he wanted to he have seen Ukrainian nationalists in everybody. So he was sent to Siberia, and Viktor Medvedchuk was born in Siberia. For 10 years they lived there and come back to Ukraine. They live nearby Kiev, not far from Kiev. But I think Viktor Medvedchuk, he didn't like his father's story, because when he wanted to enter military school, he wasn't accepted because his father was in prison. His father was like Ukrainian nationalist. That is why I think he hates Ukrainian nationalists, because he it's like stop his career. But he, for a long time, he worked as a simple worker in different factories, but at least he applied for the law school of Shevchenko University, Kiev University, and he passed the exam, and he became student in Shevchenko University. He was well, but and he even supported police. He was one of the police. He helped police to looking for the people difference, because in that time young generation they help police. And one day, together with his friend, they caught a young guy, teenager, and beat him, beat for nothing. That is why he was sentenced. He was probably put in prison, but not so for big time. He was in prison just for some months, and we don't know why he was released so quickly, and he was accepted again to university. Ukrainians think that in that time he started to collaborate with Soviet militaries, with police. And from that time he started his career as a lawyer. He was lawyer, he was advocate lawyer for different people. He became lawyer for political prisoner, for political people, for poets, for writers, for everybody who did not like Soviet Union. And we think that he was taken as presenter of these people in order to punish them, because in that time many lawyers cooperated with Soviet Union, with Soviet government, and they worked for Soviet government. They did not defend the client in real. Many of them, the most famous his client was Ukrainian poet Vasyl Stuz. This is this person. In 1985 he was taken to the court. Viktor Medvedchuk was offered to him as a lawyer. Vasyl Stuz, he didn't like this person, and he told that I don't need one more prosecutor, because he know how lawyer work in that time in Soviet Union. And this person, he was really honest. He liked much Ukraine. He had great poems. He was totally different from Viktor Medvedchuk. He didn't like this luxury life. He did not like to sold his soul for money. He was just honest. He told the truth. That is why Soviet state didn't like him, and I think that is why Viktor Medvedchuk did not like him. And according to the court, according to the sentence, he was the judgment gave him 10 years in concentration camping. His lawyer wasn't against this sentence. Even more, Viktor Medvedchuk told that he deserved these 10 years. That's because of his poem. So he took 10 years in the concentration camping just for his poem. Such was his advocate, such was his lawyer. I think in Western Europe, if you have some such a lawyer, he could not be successful. It was Soviet Union, and many people were successful not because of their achievements, but they were successful because they collaborated with government, they work for the state, for the interest state. And what happened with Vasyl Stuz? In some years he died. Actually, in 1985, he died in concentration camping in Siberia. He declared a hunger strike, and he had problem with his he had some illness, he had problem with his stomach, and he was very ill. Of course, he was without any energy, and he died. Even in camp, he continued to write his poem. And one of his poem is «Як добре те, що смерті не боюся, і не питаю, чи тяжкий мій шлях, і перед вами, судді, не клонюся, перечутті недовідомих верст, що жив, любив і не набрався скверни, ненависті, проклонів, каяття, народи мій, до тебе я ще верну, як смерті обернуся до життя». I can make translation for you. This is so good that I don't feel fear of death, nor ask myself if heavy is my cross, nor bow to you my judges, feeling how many miles I need to walk, that I lived, loved, and didn't feel hate and regret. My people, I will return to you. In death, I will return to life. And he really returned to life. It's happened, I think, in 1919, when the Soviet Union was broken, and Ukrainian patriots who died in Siberia were their body were taken away from the Siberia, and people carrying them to Ukraine and come back them to Ukraine. He understands that he can come back to Ukraine just being dead, but Soviet government, Soviet state, and such person like Viktor Medvedchuk, they could not break this person. He was persistent in his ideas, he knows what he wants, and you can see how miserable the life of his lawyer became. That's in the time he had everything. He had money, he had power, he was one of the richest person in Ukraine, but he became like this. He totally is, I think he totally is opposite of Vasil Stus, because he did not keep any idea. He just worked for Russia, he just worked for Putin, and he wanted everybody see him Russian, not Ukraine. He wanted to show that he is Russian, but it's was difficult for him, and he did not make his gold. Yes, because Russia did not accept him, did not exchange him, did not want even exchange him to Ukrainian, do not want to take him to Russia anymore. That is why I think this just strategy of his whole miserable life. So such is the story. I hope you like it. I tried to describe you all the situation in my way. Yeah, I really like Vasil Stus because I learned about him from my childhood, and we learned his poems at school. And I hope that everything will be okay, because Ukraine defends truth, we defend our country, and everything will be okay for our country. Just pray for people who stay in difficult situation. So thank you for watching, and see you soon.